In this video, we're going to look at making a custom pipe database. Let's take a look at a piping library and what we might use this for and how we might use it. Right now we have PVC DVW shown, and if we look at the pipe sizes that are available, we see there's no 1.5 inch, there's a 5 inch which we don't make, there's a few other sizes that are missing. Additionally, if we look at a fitting, this 45-degree elbow, we'll find there is 1.5 inch. There's also the 5 inch we don't have, but there's none of the larger sizes like 12, 14, or 16. So let's use the database editor to see how to change that and add a complete library. The Mech-Q database editor is located here under the Mech-Q tab under Maintenance and Database Editor. Let's close this caution dialog box and take a look. Right now we're using the PVC DVW library, which is right here. Now we could just add these to sizes that are missing to the Mech-Q database, but since it's a plumbing library, we know that many different manufacturers have different dimensions. So let's do this. Let's make a custom library out of the Mech-Q PVC DVW library. So what we'll do is we'll highlight PVC DVW and type in add similar. Alright, now they want to know what the designation is going to be. We'll type in here Nibco PVC DWV, all in one word, because it does have to fit on the drop down. Okay, now it needs a maximum of 5 down here for an abbreviation, and this is for Mech-Q to take care of. It doesn't really make any difference to you what it is, but you can't use it twice. So we'll use NCP or DW, and that will take care of it. So we'll move up here and we'll add the new system. And that'll bring us back to our main dialog box. And we can see right down here, there's our Nibco PVC pipe and fittings, just like we looked at. And this is an identical copy to the Mech-Q at this point. So we're going to want to change these entries in here. Before we start changing these entries, let's look at the editor help. This is what's going to tell us what's going on here. If I select pipe and I select 1.25 inch, for example, I see these. We know this is the NB, or nominal bore, or in the US we say nominal diameter, ND, the OD, or the wall spec. If we look at the editor, that's going to give us the same information. This one's pretty simple. But what happens if we go to a fitting? We select the fitting that's in here and we have all these numbers. And what does that mean? So let's go to editor help here, and we can see that these numbers now, or letters and numbers, correspond with parts of the fitting. So it has an appropriate fitting. It's a hub and spigot, or male-female. So we see that the nominal bore, that's the same. In this case, 1.25 inch, or 32 millimeters. Gives the OD, the AH is going to be the inside diameter of the bore of the fitting. The CH, which is going to be the cup depth, and the DH, which is going to be the thickness of the socket itself. These you'll see also go hand in hand with your plumbing catalog. You can see those side by side. One thing you must remember is that Mech-Q uses millimeters instead of inches for the dimensions. So you have to have your dimensions in millimeters before you put it in, and then the outside, what's going to show up on your pull down, is enclosed in parentheses. In this case it's 1.25 inch. But you can see that the OD and the AH here and the A dimensions here match up fairly well. The B dimension we don't need in here, and the C dimension is the same as the CH dimension. So you'll need to convert these numbers from your piping catalog into millimeters before you get started. All right, since we used Nibco for our standard, let's use the Nibco catalog for our pipe size. Now, as you know, pipe sizes are standard throughout manufacturers, so we're going to use this pipe library here in another area. So what we want to do is we want to add a size. Okay, so that's going to bring us down to a blank line, and what we want to do is we want to use 1.5 inch, which in the case of metric is going to be 40 millimeters. We want to put a space, and it's going to be 1 space 1/2, and it's going to be enclosed in parentheses. Now the 1.5, so it's going to show on your drop down when you're in US units. Okay, so the OD of 1.5 inch is 48.26 millimeters, and the wall spec is 3.56 millimeters. Okay, so then all we need to do on this one here, once we've added, we don't want to add size here, we want to click add here. Okay, don't worry about which order it goes into. So let's add one more. While we're here, we're going to add a size. That gets us down a blank line. And this is going to be 75 millimeters. And this is going to be the equivalent of a 3-inch American units. So we're going to put 3 inches in there. And the OD of this is going to be 88.9 millimeters. And a wall is 5.49. And we can go on, so we're going to go down to this add, we're going to add it here, and it's going to show up here. And we've got a couple more to add, but we also want to delete some. But let's get this organized. We'll highlight the one we want, 1.5 inches, we want under 1.25 inches. So we can either click up till we get it where we want, or we can click it to the top, highlight it again, and go down. Now it's in order. Same with a 3-inch. Let's just move the 3-inch up. We want the 3-inch under the 2 and between the 2, 3, 4, and here's the 5-inch. So let's do this. 5-inch they don't sell in the US, so we want to delete the size. Okay, so let's leave that for now. Hit save and exit. That will save the size of fittings. Now when we open up the piping dialog box, we'll see it's still on PVC DVW. We can see the Mech-Q PVC DVW library that we added. And when we come up and we select the pipes, we get pipe sizes, we can now see that we have our new sizes. And we've deleted the 5-inch that was in there before. Now we need to add some fitting sizes. So let's once again get back into the Mech-Q database editor. We'll click OK on this. Okay, so here we need to go to fittings. And we can see, even though we changed some sizes in the fittings or in the pipe, they don't translate to the fittings. They're going to be different sizes. So we know we need to delete the 5-inch fitting, so we're going to delete that size. Okay, so it's 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. So we'll need to add a couple sizes for fittings here. And then the process is going to be the same. I'll move this aside and we'll see what sizes that Mech-Q makes the fittings in. That will help us out. So we can see we have 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, 2, 3. We deleted the 5. We have 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So we'll just hit save and exit. That will save the size of fittings. For custom fittings, we have a little more work to do. So let's go back in our database editor. We'll click OK on this warning. Let's go to fittings. Now, when we click on the fittings, we're going to look at the 6-inch fittings. It's 150 millimeter. And we're going to look down here at the 45-degree elbow. That's the one we're going to work on today. So if we look at our editor help, it says A45 and B45. And this is our end to center dimension right here, which is 65.1 millimeters. I've opened up my Mech-Q catalog to see what we have here for a fitting. So if we look at the 6-inch over here, which I have highlighted, we can see that this 6-inch has a dimension of 3 3/8, which works out to 85.725 millimeters. We can see that the Mech-Q has, for this same number, 65.1 millimeters. So let's change that, and that's going to change this fitting here. So what we really want is 85.72, and what we need to do here is we need to hit the replace button. That's going to replace the number that was in there. Okay, and then once we're done, we're going to hit save and exit. Okay, so let's try our fittings. To start with, we'll use the stock Mech-Q fitting. Here's the 45-degree fitting we've modified, and we'll locate it right here, and we'll give it a rotation angle of 0. Let's exit this. Now let's look at the new modified Mech-Q fitting. So we'll go down here and we'll find our Mech-Q PVC DVW library, still 6 inches, and we'll draw this one out. And once again, we'll give it a rotation angle of 0. And exit. Now, if we check the dimensions versus what we had, we should be able to find out that our cup dimension to center dimension is 3 3/8, which is just what we entered from the Mech-Q catalog. And when we check the stock Mech-Q fitting, we'll find out that it's going to be somewhat shorter because that's what was specified in it. So in order to do this, you just find the fittings you want and make the changes you want, and then you can keep this as your stock fittings. So I would recommend here at this point, what you might want to do is come in here and edit this, and when it gives you an 1/8 bend, you might want to put comma Mech-Q, and that's a 5806, I believe. To make sure you get the correct fitting rather than just a generic fitting, since it is a plumbing fitting and they do vary. And that's it. Thanks for watching.